Hello and welcome to today's event. I'm Action Industry Marketing Specialist Jason Naxted. And today's event, find out why fax users are moving to Infor CloudSuite distribution. Today we'll talk about how to optimize your supply chain process to control costs and achieve operational excellence. At the end of the presentation, we'll have time to answer any of your questions. And as always, this will be recorded, so if there's something we may have missed or a point you want brought up again, you can watch it online on our YouTube channel. View our landing page, which I will direct you to at the end of the presentation. And as always, reach out to Action to schedule a demo. Today's presenter is Mr. Rob Dallas, Senior Distribution Consultant, Solutions Consultant, 30 plus years working with Infor distribution products and 15 plus years as a solution consultant with SXE and CloudSuite distribution products. And without any further ado, Rob, go ahead, take it away, sir.
Thanks, Jason. Welcome, everyone. I think you're going to find today's session very valuable. As you can see there, I've had a lot of experience working with Infor products and specifically fax. I started my career as a programmer. I installed the system, modified it a lot, and did a little bit of training. And so I can speak to the differences between the two systems. Fax is a great system. It was really good at what it was designed to do. Typically, that meant smaller or simpler distributors, mainly with one location, really not many sophisticated requirements, which was great. But a lot of our distributors have outgrown fax, specifically if they are running multiple locations, distribution centers, specifically if they have a remote access. They don't want to have to remote desktop into a terminal server, which requires hardware and licensing. So obviously, people are migrating towards the cloud. We're all used to using Office 365 and other applications in the cloud, so it only makes sense that your main business ERP is in the cloud as well. As far as the agenda goes, I'm going to do just a couple introductory slides, then a slide regarding the distribution industry trends. I have a good slide that talks about the differences between CSD, which is short for CloudSuite distribution, and fax, then some of the depth of CSD, the solution itself. Then we'll do a quick demo. I've got some scenarios that I like to walk through on the sales side. But again, hopefully we can schedule a time to look deeper into inventory management, accounting, maybe some light manufacturing, whatever it is that's specific to your company. Then a slide or two on the action difference. And then, as Jason mentioned, we will have time for Q&A. So please enter any questions that you may have in that Q&A panel on your screen. So Infor is the author and manufacturer of CSD, just like they are fax. They've had some growth in recent years, if you weren't aware. They're now the third largest ERP company in the world, privately owned by the Koch brothers. You can see their strong micro-vertical positions there in the different industries. But I think what's important to note is that they're really striving to be leaders of innovation and technology. So we're all used to leveraging technology in our personal lives, but how can we leverage that same technology in our business lives to make our jobs easier, make us more efficient, make working more enjoyable? So what are some of the trends that we've seen from distributors this year? And really, it's been going on for the past couple of years. I think there's a reincarnation of the e-commerce revolution, right? We know this was a big deal back in the early 2000s, but some distributors decided that it just wasn't for them. Well, there's been a rapid growth of e-commerce recently that's reshaping the distribution channels, whether that's because you have to compete with the online or big box retailers, right? Consumers increasingly prefer online shopping. So how are you able to meet those demands? The utilization of technology, AI, and integrations. So again, how can we leverage the technology, IoT, AI, automation? Those technologies can optimize warehouse operations. They can enhance predictive analytics for demand forecasting and enable the use of data-driven insights to streamline operations and enhance customer service. Changing customer expectations and personalization, right? That's always changing. Customers expect faster deliveries, of course, personalized experiences, and flexible fulfillment options. How do you know when it's the right to migrate to CSD, right? CSD is a comprehensive suite right? So not only the ERP footprint, which I'm going to talk about in just a second, but then we can add additional capabilities as well. I mentioned remote connectivity. If you're dealing with that, if your IT department is aging out, getting replaced by younger employees, obviously they want to work with latest technology. If you have a lot of modifications that you're having to re-implement, which obviously is time consuming and expensive every time you upgrade, versus a cloud product where you would always be current because you would get the updates constantly, just like, again, you do with Office 365. We talked a little bit about distribution disrupted in the omni-channel sales, customer expectations changing. A lot of distributors are having to expand services, right, to, again, deal with competition. We're always fighting margin erosion, staying as lean as possible. The big one is big data insight. How can we leverage analytics to turn all that data into useful information? And then, as I mentioned, the dynamic workforce, the aging workforce, and then again, being able to attract and retain those new hires. So here's a slide I mentioned that we can do some comparisons between the two platforms. As we've already mentioned, it runs in a browser, so no client is required. As long as you have internet connectivity via Wi-Fi or cellular, you can open a browser, really any browser, and get access into your ERP. It is a real-time system versus a batch system. So in fact, after a lot of updates, you have to review the GL postings, you have to then run another separate update, and that locks users out. CSD, it's real time, so the journals are posted immediately, and there are no file locks. Okay? It's not case sensitive. My fax customers always got a kick out of that one. No longer do you have to be all uppercase yelling at your customers. I mentioned that cloud option means no more upgrades, only the monthly updates. It's a true relational SQL database. What does that mean? Performance doesn't take a hit with the more items, customers, invoices that you have in the system. There are no sort files that need to be rebuilt. Okay? There's no errors that stop processing. You might get a diagnostic that says go investigate something, but nothing that stops you in your tracks, no escape codes, etc. This next one's very important. Deep out-of-the-box functionality and flexibility for doing what we call extensions versus doing modifications. Right? We're going to need less changes because of the depth of the product, but also since we're doing the changes outside of the core system, because it's a true multi-tenant SaaS product, we can always stay current. And then obviously run the same software your larger competitors do. Some of the deep out-of-the-box functionality, very strong in-depth handling of non-stocks, different types and classifications of non-stocks. I mentioned multi-warehouse functionality with true demand center processing. Extensive search options where you'll see in the demo when I begin that you just start typing what you're looking for. The ability to do invoice consolidation. Document management is included out of the box with your subscription and fully integrated. And I'll show you a couple examples of that. Very deep handling of vendor rebates, whether they're on the buy or the sale. Advanced inventory management is probably the strongest module or aspect of CSD. The demand center, the forecasting, right? Knowing what to buy, when, and how much. Expanded pricing, similar to what you have today, just a little bit more robust with that same hierarchy concept and better tools to manage those price records. And then interfaces to tax solutions like Avalara. All right, so let's go ahead and let me share my screen. Toggle over here. Okay, so this is the landing page of CloudSuite distribution. What I wanted to talk about here, first, just a basic layout. There is a main menu system as you'd expect. You can type in access codes or any verbiage to find functions that you're looking to navigate to. And then there's a smart panel over here on the right, which has smart help, which is dynamic help based on what you're trying to do, as well as web parts or widgets, which we're going to talk about, which are objects that are monitoring what you're working with, and they provide additional information right at your fingertips. So in this demo, I thought I'd go through a sales scenario that has three parts. First, customer calls and wants to know availability and pricing of a product, okay? Second, they want to know the status of an order. And we're going to look at adding a file, a digital file to that order via doc management. Third, enter a new order, of course. Right? So first, let's talk about availability and pricing. We don't have to enter in a quote or an order to get that information. We can go into something called a customer pricing inquiry. Okay? Now, one nice thing about CloudSuite distribution, whenever you click on any field, it remembers what you've been working with. Okay? That's every field. Customers, products, vendors, order numbers. Can't tell you how many times I'd walk through distributors and you see the yellow scratch notes or the yellow sticky notes. That goes away. Let's say it's not something you've been working with. You just start typing, what do you know? Do I know part of the customer number? Do I know part of the name? And the more you give it, it narrows down your search results. You could enter in part of their phone number, let's say, because you have a DID phone system, so you see the incoming phone number. Maybe I know the zip code, the address, a contact name. Again, whatever information you can type in, it narrows down your search results, as well as an advanced lookup where you could actually type in values in each of those fields independently. Same with the product lookup. Let's say, let's look for grills. It's almost spring season, grilling season. See here, I have multiple grills, but what I'm really looking for is a built-in. Now again, order doesn't matter, but notice at the top, I have 3 hits that contain both words that I entered. So this is similar to Google. So any hits that contain both will be at the top, and then below that, you'll have any items that contain either or, right? I also get to see what I have available for each of those as well. Again, if I want to do more of an advanced lookup, I could drill in, I could see some product image, short description, availability. There's a 256 character extended description that can be used in a number of ways. First of all, it's part of every lookup and search. So you can put attributes, dimensions, even slang terms. Also, we can print that on forms if we need to. So if you have certain products or customers that you just want a more robust extended description, we can do that. I'm going to go ahead and select an item. First thing you may notice here, jumps out at you is a picture of this nice looking grill. Throughout the system, you'll see product images, but let's say you want the spec sheet for this grill, or you're somewhere where there's not an image. I mentioned over here on the right at the top, we can open up our web parts. And this top web part is document management. So again, these are objects monitoring what you're working with and are updating, their dynamics, so real-time intelligent web parts. So now I could look at objects related to the customer records, to the warehouse records, to products, to the pricing record. So I can say, okay, what's related to that product? Maybe I want to see that spec sheet, and I could email it here from my browser, or even from the web part, I could go ahead and email it straight from the system. Or maybe I want to go look at another, there's the product image of that item as well. Okay. I could look at notes, again, pertaining to customer, to products, whatever it is I'm working with on the screen, activities, follow-ups, to-dos, unlimited contacts, and many other web parts as well. So you can leave these open, but typically they're hidden just to give you the additional real estate, or if you have an environment with multiple monitors, you could have them open on that other screen. And again, they're just constantly updating with real-time information. Excuse me. So here we see product availability, the list price of this item, this customer's today price going through all our pricing records or contracts. And of course, I can manipulate it for different quantities, different units of measure. I could pull up a worksheet, do some other additional what if type scenarios, maybe a different cost plus, list less. If you have security, we can even create contracts right within this inquiry. So let's say we've given the customer their, what we have available at this location. We could look at all locations if we have again, it's designed for distributors with multiple warehouses. So I can see what I have available in all my other locations. And maybe I even want to filter that out for a specific zone or region. Again, due to constraints with transfers or getting that to them in a timely manner. So let's say now if we read that, then we have a question about an order. So I'm going to go into OEIO, or I could have typed in order inquiry. And if I knew the order, I could enter it here, but I'm going to do an advanced search. And notice I have 7 fields enabled. This is by user. It's a preference. What fields by default do you typically use? One of Infor's goals with CSD is to keep the screen simple and clean. There might be 50 fields we can utilize to find a sales document in this case, but if every field was enabled, it just makes the system cumbersome, complicated. Okay? But in this scenario, maybe I do need to turn on additional fields. So let's turn on enter date range, or I don't know, product, right? Maybe the reference field. I want to search on that field as well. And maybe the transaction type, There's multiple transaction types: sales orders, quotes, returns, counter sales, etc. And again, due to the underlying technology of the browser UI, notice I just changed the user experience to be what I needed it to be in this situation. You can have save searches by user. So maybe as a sales rep, you want to quickly be able to come in and with a single click, access your open orders, your open quotes, or maybe a separate filter for your larger customers. I'm going to search for a specific customer PO. One thing to notice, on any screen, when you see a blue hyperlink, you can drill in and click on that value, and it takes you, in this case, it was a customer number, so it took me right into customer inquiry. And notice it just opened up another tab. I can have as many functions open as I want. It's still just one user license. You can see an overview of the account, right? Their credit statement position. Over here on the top, there's these sub tabs, because maybe I want to jump over quickly and see receivables by job or by ship to. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and drill into this order. And now we see, again, high level overview of the order with the margin percent and cost. What stage is it in as it transitions through the system? One thing you'll notice if you look here towards the top are in CSD, the order numbers. We have one number. We don't have a separate document number. And then when it gets invoiced, we have a separate invoice number like you do in fax. And if you have multiple shipments, then you could have 3, 4, 5 different invoices for that one order. Here, it's one order number. You just have a 2-digit suffix for each of those shipments, -01, 02, etc. The order transitions through the system, right? It entered as a quote, orders it's a sales order. Once it gets picked, shipped, invoiced, and then of course it gets paid. I'm going to jump over and look at the body of the order. This lets me introduce you to the grids. All the list views and search results in CSD have these grids, and they have some nice functionality built into them. As you'd expect, any column you can click on a heading and sort by that column. Again, hyperlinks here. If I wanted to look at what this tab extension looked like or some of the details involved, I could click on that hyperlink. You can rearrange these columns in any order that you prefer. And again, that can be by individual user, role-based, because you might want all your accounting users to have similar screens, or company-wide. And there's security around who can change it, because all of these grids contain 20, 30, 50 different columns of information, right? And maybe margin and margin percent and cost is important to you if you have security to see those fields. So you'd want to pull those over maybe next to price. On all the grids, you can export to Excel, comes in nicely formatted with filtering already pre-established, or you can even turn on filtering right within CSD. So let's say you're looking at this large order and I quickly want to see the items where the description contains certain characters or does not contain or begins with. So if I want to see my tab extensions, I can quickly see those items. Okay. Again, that's on any column in any grid. So, product category, non-stock items, maybe by manufacturer. Okay, now let's say in talking and reviewing this order with the customer, they want to add a file to it. Let's just say it's the customer PO, but it could be anything. CAD file, PDF, Excel file, Word file, product image. So what we're going to do is open up Doc Management, and you can manually use the paperclip and browse out on your network and find a file. But you also have the ability to take a file. Got this customer PO on my desktop. I can simply drag and drop it. And then you're just filing it in the library. Well, what are we attaching it to? In this case, it's a sales order. And in the file cabinet, what drawer is it? What is it? It's a customer PO. Now we can upload that file. And now when anyone is looking at this document or editing it, they'd have quick access to that document and any documents associated with that order. Now let's say they want to place a new order. So for right here from within the inquiry, I can go ahead and hit new. Jumps me right into order entry. Again, the customer is remembered, so I don't have to do another lookup. Because of my user, I'm defaulting to a stock order, but I could have been a counter sale user, or maybe as a sales rep, I always enter quotes. Well, that would be my default type. Again, multiple different default type or document types here in this one order entry function. So even though there's different things happening behind the scenes, makes the system easy to learn. Because again, the flow of it, the UI is exactly the same. So we're going to do a stock order. And the orientation of order entry is left to right. So our banner or header is over here on the left. We could change the order type. Let's say if we accidentally chose the incorrect type, I could change the ship to. I could get a running total of the order as I navigate through it. Product selections in the middle. There's a few different ways to select products, which we'll review. And my shopping cart or footers over here on the right. By user, you select which interface you want to use by default for selecting products. This is what's called easy entry. I like it because let's say if I enter in, it still is able to interpret LED light. I get multiple hits. And to me, this resembles what I'm used to using in my personal life, and let's say Amazon. I get product images, short description, availability, this customer's today price going through our pricing records or contracts. The other nice thing I like about this is you might get hits from multiple items that your customer's interested in. With that one search, you can add multiple lines with a single action. Right now you see all three of those lines in my shopping cart. And at any point I can hit finish and get out of this order. So I can enter an order in 3 or 4 seconds. I don't have to workflow forward to a footer or do anything else. But let's do some additional processing. Let's say the customer wants to buy something they purchased in the past. So I'm going to toggle over to a different entry method called shopping. And in this case, we want to shop off of past sales. So for any time period, the system can produce a system list. So it's going to show each item once of the products they've purchased within that time period. See, we get availability, that's customers today price, the last purchase date and price, quantity recommended, that's the last quantity they purchased, product image, again, a ton more information. You can rearrange these columns if you want cost and margin over more to the left. Could do a search to find the products you're looking for. We could turn on filtering like we talked about before. But what makes this grid unique is it's actually an order path. So when you find the items you're interested in, using your mouse or arrow key and carriage return, I simply go through and set quantities for the desired items. And again, with one single action, I can add those items to my order. You may want to do shopping lists off promotional products you're trying to push. You can even create custom lists, maybe by items that are commonly purchased together, types of customers, maybe even for your larger customers, customer-specific shopping list. Then you can quickly just go in and start entering the quantities of the items that they commonly purchase. There's also advanced entry. This is going to resemble what you're used to in fax. I can do a stock, non-stock special order. Again, notice the screen is very clean and simple. There's a ton more information, but it's under extended fields. Right? Again, I might not need this information on every line. Or maybe I do want cost and discount. So any field on this extended field section can be moved over to this first window. Again, by user. How can you tailor the user, the UI, the user interface, to make it the most efficient for each individual user? Again, here I can enter in a SKU number, right? And if I just select the item, hit return, just going to add quantity of 1. Maybe I just want to type in what it is. And then again, I could select my item. Maybe I want to tab over and enter a quantity of 3. When I add this item, notice it's been set up with options or accessories or companion items, if you will. So I can offer rollers, hardware, belting. Go ahead and select an item. Maybe I want to change the quantity, maybe 3 for that one, and the belting will leave at 10. Now, when you hit submit, note all 3 of those items were added here at the top of my shopping cart. Okay. I mentioned earlier at any time you can hit finish and get out, but maybe you do want to look at taxes and totals. Again, whether you're manually managing your tax jurisdictions or if we are interfacing with something like Avalara, I can see the details and the totals of the order. Maybe you want to collect payment on the order. It could be a deposit, a percentage or dollar amount. That deposit stays with this order and is automatically applied when invoiced. Integrated credit card system, right? Meets all the latest federal PCI requirements, so it is tokenized. But we can have credit cards on file, as you see here. Or, as I mentioned, I could hit finish. It's going to go through any rules that we have, obviously credit limit, maybe margin tolerances, because this user is allowed to manipulate pricing and we can put some fences around what they can do. And of course, if it passes, then in this case, it would just go on account. Okay, so those are 3 scenarios. Let me stop sharing my screen here that we went through. We looked up pricing and availability with an inquiry. We went in and checked the status of an order. And we looked at grids and filters and then the integration of doc management. And then we also processed a new order for that same account. Obviously, there's a lot more that the system could do. That was just a brief, 10, maybe 15-minute look at the actual software. Infor is very distribution focused. This is their flagship distribution product going forward. This is where they're investing all their dollars in new distribution functionality, but also innovation and technology. How can we leverage the new technology? How can we keep it looking and acting, being the experience being very modern? Action, we are Infor's largest distribution partner, 25-year running gold partner. We've won the Circle of Excellence Award, supporting over 700 of Infor's distribution customers with expertise in distribution, light manufacturing, warehousing, and e-commerce. We employ over 225 employees across the country and offer support from 8 a.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Pacific time. But not only do we offer ERP support, we have many other IT offerings as well. Again, it's our goal to be your one-stop shop for anything IT related that you may need. So if you weren't aware of these services that we offer, please reach out to your account manager. If you don't have one, you can reach out to me. My contact information will be coming up soon, or Jason, and we can put you in touch with the correct individual. So Jason, I tried to leave a few minutes here at the end for any questions we may have, so I'll throw it back to you.
Yeah, hey, thanks a lot for that, Rob. No, I think everybody's questions have been answered. Reminder, you can always reach out to Action for any questions you may have, or also to schedule a demo for yourself or for your company. As promised, here is how you can get to our handy dandy landing page for distributors. Take out your mobile phone and go ahead and scan that QR code there in the corner. You'll find info about any resources we have for Infor, CSG, and Fax. Links you can register for any upcoming events, and you can also view this on-demand webinar when we release it within about 24 hours usually. Once again, thank you to everyone that came and hang out with us today. We know your day is very busy, so we appreciate your time to come and hang out with myself and Rob and learn more about the Infor CloudSuite solution. Rob Dallas, you can reach out to him at rdallas@action.com for any other information you may need or want to know about. Once again, I'm Jason Nackstead, Industry Marketing Specialist for Action Associates. With me, as always, is Rob Dallas. Everyone have a great day, and we'll see you next time. Thank you so much.
Take care. Thank you.